Hello everybody and welcome to an easy Instapot chili. It's pretty cheap because derecho hit along with the COVID crisis and it's been difficult to strive to put together a dish since. So I hope you enjoy this recipe that I put together for you in the Instapot, and I hope you will have no problem sharing your own. Enjoy!
Approximately 2.25 pounds of ground beef and sauteed it with 1 onion, approximately 3 carrots, 3 celery. That's just my ratio. 1 tablespoon of garlic as well. Let's throw in there some dehydrated minced onion for reinforced flavor inside of the dish. It helps the onion just taste really flavorful. And I've also been seasoning with salt and pepper along the way, just little by little. This is just kind of where we're down to at this point. I will later be draining off all of the grease you see that's building up over there in the corner and glazing the bottom of the pan with some marsala. You choose to do whatever you want. I don't usually do marsala, sometimes red wine. Usually it's beef broth, but since the derecho and everything, I've just been, this has been kind of like the COVID, everything kind of meet in the middle. We'll see what we get scrounged together, sort of chili tonight. Alright, these are the beans that I've chosen. It's just kind of what I have on hand. You can use whichever you want. I'll be draining the Great Northern beans, the dark beans, and the black beans, but I do not strain the chili beans because it adds a nice flavor. And I'll be putting them all together in a pan to dump into the pot when I'm ready. I've also chosen to do 3 cans of Hunt's tomato sauce and then 1 extra open on the side on its own. And I'll show you what I'll do with that, because usually I use tomato paste and also crushed tomatoes or diced tomatoes, in which neither I have. So I'm just trying to make do with what I have. Like I said, I'm even adding Great Northern beans. This is obviously way more than 4 cups of tomato sauce, but it'll add a good flavor once we add the more beef bouillon. So I will put this together later and show you what I'm talking about. Here's my big pile of beans. Like I said, I'm going to add a lot of beans to it. Gotta make room for fiber, gotta, make as much as I can, stretch as far as I can. So this is my methodology and what I came up with. So I'll dump these in the pot when it's time to go. Here we are checking on our ground beef. It seems like we've gotten put down quite a bit, but pardon the facial, we haven't gotten it all put down right yet. Looks to me like we still have some things going on. You kind of get the idea, this is what we're going for. And I'll beat all, you can grind it up as much as you want. And then I will strain this off and then put up the temperature a little bit and try and get some more caramelization going, because right now it's all too wet. The water obviously can't escape. You've seen how much steam was coming up and out of there. So it's having a difficult time trying to evaporate all the excess water from the vegetables and the meat itself. So that's why we strain out as much as we can and then reapply and put it back into a higher temperature to create sort of an extra crispy fond on the bottom, if you will, that we will end up deglazing with the marsala. And then that tomato sauce I was telling you about, the extra one outside of the Pyrex measuring glass, will also be put in there, and we'll be simmering it down as much as possible before we start adding the rest of everything else. Here's just what it looks like now. So as you can see, I just finally got everything together. It cooked all the rest of the thing went away. It's still simmering, but it came to an end from sauteing, which is like literally the perfect time to pull it out and strain it out. So that's exactly what I'm going to do right now, and let you know, show you what it looks like afterwards when I start getting that fond going on the bottom of the pan. It's going away. Really started to develop a little bit of a fond. Not quite, so I thought I'd show you in the next step that I'm going to be taking in preparation for making this chili taste as awesomely homemade as possible, even though I don't have any of the proper stuff that I usually use for my own chili.
So, I told you I got this Knorr stuff. I did not put it in the chili mix that I made. It's extremely salty stuff. I use it as backup because, let's face it, it's not ideal, and it's probably the worst stuff for you to have in the world because of all the monosodium glutamate and everything. But it saved my butt since the derecho and with this COVID thing. So I'm using what I got. And I want to say that's a good 1/4 cup of Knorr in the bottom. I pulled it back. And you can see over here and kind of along the edges where it's like the hottest. It's there to develop that bond I was talking about. 1 quart, 4 cup measuring cup, and then fill it up with water so that it has a chance to sit and sort of mellow out. Because what's going to happen as soon as this fond develops the way that I like it in here, I'm going to deglaze and throw that in there like a splash just to start getting the pieces up just a little bit. Adds a layer of flavor, I promise it's worth it. And then I'm going to add that, and then we're going to continue to simmer down on high because that's what's going to help us develop that flavor the fastest. And then right after that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add all of the rest of the liquid ingredients and all the rest of the solid ingredients and basically mix and throw the lid on, and I'll show you what setting I use when it comes time. So I'll give you a shout back. Here's it. Okay, so if I let this go much further, it's going to start creating even more of a fond and maybe even burn. But as you can tell, it's no longer just sitting there running all over the place. It's actually started to become more of a paste-like consistency. And that's kind of what I need because that is a reinforced tomato flavor I was talking about that we needed to have. Now, there's one of two things you could do. Or 3. And it just depends on how you are. You can add all of the seasoning at once and right now, and it just flavor the meat. You can put it all in later when you put in all your liquids and everything else. Or you can do what I like to do, and I like to split it in half because I do have quite a bit of salt going on, but I want to be able to give you that flavor a little bit inside of the meat when you're cooking. And wake up that seasoning prior just to the pressure cooker cooking it. It'll open up the pores of the spices and allow it to be absorbed not only into the proteins and all the carbohydrates, but vice versa. Put all this in here. This is 4 cups of basically beef stock. And that pretty much slowed everything down. But now that you have a liquid in here that's really thin, and that's a lot of it, you can go in here, and if you feel like there's any more fond pieces at the bottom, you can scrub them up right now. So what I'm gonna do, yep, I got all that all up, Scrape it down the sides the best I can. And then I'm gonna add the rest of this stuff. And then I'll show you what I do next. I have added the beans. I have added the rest of the tomato sauce. And we're here at the rest of the seasoning. Here is what it looks like. I should warn you that I have like one of the biggest Instapots you have. So this is tailored basically to the max line. I like to make large quantities of food for my family at once so that I don't have an issue with coming up with recipes on the fly. Like this will be chili over rice or chili mac or chili mac supreme bake or, you know, just chili. But, you know, it gets us further. So what I'm gonna do is throw this in here. I know that seems like a lot. Season it as much or as little as you like, spicy as you want. I always do, I have a plethora of spices that I use for any and every occasion. I always try to keep them on hand so that, you know, lots of people tend to do packs or packets. That's up to you. That's your choice. You can go ahead and do so. As you can see, or here, it started to come to a simmer already. I'm trying to give my right hand a break. I've been doing a lot of chopping and mixing and my arthritis is acting up. So I decided I was gonna try and make do with what I got. Let's see if I can center this better. I'm about as ambidextrous as this drunk cat in the middle of winter trying to stumble outside of the door. So it started to come to a simmer. Then we are going to push the cancel button. Go ahead, put this on. Make sure that the vent itself is closed and the pen will already be dropped. Alright, so as you can see, putting it on slow cook does not require any pressure at all. And basically we're recirculating the fluids that are inside of it, slowly cooking it for 4 hours, which is a great way to do it. Crock pots are great and all, but you tend to have to try and find methods to keep the moisture in so that you can good solid seal and the flavor actually permeate throughout the entire dish. That's why it takes longer. So even if you're doing a slow cook on here, as you can see, it does not burn. It still retains pressure and it'll cook in about 4 hours if you cook it on less. And it'll be a nice, slow cooked chili. Look, she's all done. Let's have a look-see. It smells amazing when I first opened it up, and I cannot tell you how much I couldn't wait to dig in. Here, I'm just stirring everything from the bottom up. See how everything feels. Nothing seems to burn. Everything seemed to turn out perfect. If you guys have any questions about this video, or if you just want to get a hold of me, shoot me a message on Facebook. Or if you have my email, go ahead and shoot me an email. I'll figure a way to get a hold of you. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it. And I hope you enjoyed this dish as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Have a wonderful evening and enjoy some cheap chili over rice.